7 of the 8 historic World Cup winners are locked in for 2026, but one team is watching them, thinking something truly dangerous. The World Cup has a massive Portugal problem. This squad genuinely believes they can become the 9th nation in football history to lift the trophy. And honestly, they absolutely could. Do you expect Cristiano Ronaldo to conquer the 2026 World Cup in America? Wow, they really might. They just lifted the Nations League trophy. They just took down the European champions on penalties. Yeah, they can do anything. Anything is possible. Will they actually win it? I don't know. But they can. They feature the best left back on earth. They boast some of the finest midfielders alive, like Joao Neves and Bruno Fernandes. Their squad depth is just unreal. They have absolute mavericks like Rafael Leao, who can step onto the pitch and create pure chaos whenever he wants. And they have a man who will always find the back of the net. That man is Cristiano. They hold all the vital pieces. Without question, this is the greatest Portuguese squad ever built. The terrifying part? The results totally back it up. This exact core crushed the Euro 2024 qualifiers, winning all 10 of their matches. The very same team that delivered Portugal's biggest victory ever, a terrifying 9-0 destruction of Luxembourg. Now, they arrive as the latest UEFA Nations League champions. Listen closely to this stat. Under Roberto Martinez, Portugal has won 34 games, drawn 3, and lost exactly once. One single defeat, that is it. Their momentum heading into 2026 is frightening. Honestly, how can you possibly doubt them when you scan this roster line by line? In goal, Diogo Costa, the penalty shootout hero against Spain. He is one of the coldest goalkeepers alive. At center back, Ruben Dias and Matheus Nunes, 2 defenders holding Guardiola's stamp of approval. Beside them, Renato Veiga, physical, technical, aggressive. And out wide, Nuno Mendes, possibly the premier left back on the planet, the very man who turned Lamine Yamal's match into a total nightmare. On the right, Joao Cancelo, fresh off winning the Spanish league with Barcelona, still sprinting like a madman end to end. This defensive line is just ridiculous. But Portugal's midfield is what truly terrifies opponents. They might actually possess the greatest collection of midfielders in global football today. Vitinha, the brain behind PSG. For those who really know the sport, he might be the best center mid breathing right now. Bruno Fernandes, the ultimate playmaker in the Premier League and arguably the world. Bernardo Silva, the guy Guardiola trusts over almost anyone. Then Joao Neves, the rough diamond bringing relentless intensity to the Champions League. The sheer creativity packed into this national team, absolutely absurd. Now look at the attacking weapons Roberto Martinez can unleash to shatter World Cup backlines. Pedro Neto, one of the rare bright spots at Chelsea. Rafael Leao, the human arrow lighting up Serie A. Joao Felix, reborn in Saudi Arabia and playing with total confidence again. Francisco Conceição, the rising superstar at Juventus. And Goncalo Ramos, PSG's deadly box striker. And finally, him, Cristiano Ronaldo, the legend who changed Portuguese football forever. The icon who dragged Portugal from underdog status into absolute giants, a country that now marches into every major tournament demanding glory. Never in their history has Portugal fielded a roster quite like this one. And trust me, the World Cup feels it. You can basically chop the history of the Portuguese national team into 3 distinct eras. First, a Portugal squad that never won a thing. They routinely vanish from the biggest international tournaments. Before Cristiano Ronaldo stepped up, Portugal was nowhere near the footballing powerhouse you see today. Across 82 years of competition, they qualified for just 3 of 11 Euros, a miserable 27% rate. Their World Cup record was worse, just 3 appearances across 17 editions, barely 18%. That old Portugal lacked trophies, dynasties, and aura. Their finest World Cup memory was that legendary 1966 run, carried by Eusebio, the Black Panther. Portugal stunned the globe, topping their group after smashing Hungary 3-1, sweeping Bulgaria 3-0, and even crushing Brazil 3-1. Then, they outgunned North Korea 5-3. It was an insane comeback. Right before they fell 2-1 against England in the semifinals. A heartbreaking end. They edged the Soviet Union 2-1 to claim 3rd place. And after that, total silence. Portugal popped up at Mexico 86, only to vanish for Italia 90, USA 94, and France 98. Sure, they were a talented footballing nation, but inconsistent, fragile, and far from elite. Then, starting with the 2002 World Cup, everything shifted. Portugal never missed another major tournament. With Cristiano leading, they reached 6 out of 6 Euros, 100%. The exact same story played out at the World Cup. 6 for 6. Think about how completely insane that transformation is, man. Portugal went from making just 6 of 28 major tournaments in their entire history to sudden perfection, 12 out of 12. and it went beyond just qualifying. Portugal jumped from winning absolutely zero to hoisting a European championship and a pair of UEFA Nations League titles. Cristiano Ronaldo became far more than their greatest player. He entirely rewrote the trajectory of his nation. This second era of Portuguese football stands as one of the most dramatic sporting transformations we have ever witnessed. The eyes of the footballing world finally locked onto Portugal during Euro 2004. They were hosting a major tournament for the first time. This was way bigger than football. The entire country was ready to party. But this Euro tournament started exactly how it would end, with Greece stunning everyone. In the opening match at the Drago, Karagounis and Vitinha shocked the home crowd. Cristiano Ronaldo grabbed a late goal, but Portugal lost 2-1. They bounced back against the Russian squad, grabbing a 2-0 victory with massive goals from Manich and Rui Costa. Then came one of the most massive nights in Portuguese football history. Portugal faced Spain. Nuno Mendes scored the winner at the Alvad, and Lisbon completely erupted. The national team knocked out their eternal rivals, winning the group. Suddenly, the ultimate football dream felt very real. Absolute chaos followed against England. Michael Owen silenced the Estadio Do early on, but Helder Postiga scored a clutch equalizer at the very end. In extra time, Rui Costa made it 2-1. But Frank Lampard fired right back, sending the whole match to penalties. That is when Ricardo Pereira became immortal. Doubted earlier in the tournament, the Portuguese goalkeeper transformed into an absolute hero. He forced misses from Beckham and Wiesel, then buried the winning penalty himself to send Portugal to the semis. Against the Netherlands, Lisbon absolutely lost its mind. Cristiano Ronaldo drew first blood, and Manich added a second. Portugal survived the late pressure, reaching the final. But then came the darkest night in Lisbon. Portugal attacked relentlessly. The roaring crowd pushed them forward, but the Greek defense fought like actual warriors. Just as Portugal looked completely drained, Greece struck again. Dead silence. Over 60,000 home fans frozen in shock. The dream shattered. But at Germany 2006, the squad kept growing, topping a group alongside Angola. Arano smashed a right-foot goal, and Mexico beat the Netherlands in one of the most violent World Cup matches in history. Then they knocked out England on penalties again. Cristiano Ronaldo stepped up with massive confidence, burying the deciding kick himself. But France ended their run in the semifinals, and Germany took them down in the third-place game. Close, but not quite enough. Euro 2008 was entirely forgettable. Portugal beat Turkey and Czechia with Cristiano firing in a brilliant goal, but they collapsed against Switzerland, and Germany bounced them in the first knockout round. Down in South Africa 2010, they smashed North Korea 7-0, reaching the round of 16 before Spain sent them packing. Then came Euro 2012. This was the exact moment Portugal started looking genuinely terrifying. A narrow loss to Germany, then beating Denmark. Then Cristiano Ronaldo dismantled the Netherlands with a massive brace, sending his team through. In the quarters, he nailed the winning goal against Czechia. But in the semis, Portugal fell to Spain on penalties after a brutal scoreless battle. Even in defeat, though, you could feel the momentum shifting. Portugal were no longer underdogs. Then came Brazil 2014. Cristiano dragged them there almost completely by himself. That playoff against Latin Sweden became legendary. One goal in Lisbon, followed by a brilliant hat trick over in Sweden. Ronaldo single-handedly carried Portugal into the World Cup, but the tournament itself was a total disaster. A 4-0 humiliation by Germany, then drawing the USA. Even after beating Ghana 2-1, the squad crashed out in the group stages just on goal difference. But Portugal had already evolved. They stopped missing the big tournaments. They were finally respected, feared, and fiercely competitive. But listen, the absolute best was still coming. Brace yourselves. What went down in France in 2016 was one of the biggest shocks in modern football history. Honestly, Portugal's Euro 2016 campaign started as pure chaos. Handed a pretty easy group, they still failed to win a single match. Iceland stunned them 1-1 early on. Then, they blanked against Austria in a scoreless draw. In their final game against Hungary, they survived a wild 3-3 shootout thanks to a Ronaldo brace. Somehow, they crawled into the knockout stage as a third-place team. Then came Croatia. Modric, Akitic, Perisic, an absolute monster squad that had already topped Spain in the group stage. The match was tense, ugly, and completely nerve-wracking. But right at the end of extra time, Nani buried the goal that sent Portugal to the quarters. Another draw followed against Poland. Lewandowski scored early, but Renato Sanchez fired right back with a massive goal. Time for penalties again. And this right here is where Cristiano delivered one of the greatest leadership moments in all of modern football. Portugal nailed every penalty. Błaszczykowski missed for Poland, and Nani calmly buried the match winner. Next up was the semi-final against Wales. Shockingly, this was the only match Portugal actually won inside 90 minutes during the entire tournament. Cristiano Ronaldo flew into the air and smashed home the opening goal. Just minutes later, Nani totally finished the job. Portugal finally made the final, and waiting there was France, the tournament hosts, the heavy favorites, Griezmann's France. And things kicked off in the absolute worst way. Cristiano Ronaldo took an early injury, leaving the pitch in total tears. But somehow, losing their captain only made Portugal stronger. They suffered, defended deep, and resisted every attack. Then, in extra time, Ada unleashed the biggest goal in Portuguese football history. Portugal were finally champions of Europe. Cristiano Ronaldo achieved what Alario never could, and what Figo never could. He handed Portugal their first major international trophy. Then came Russia 2018. Portugal topped their group alongside Spain, all because Cristiano Ronaldo dropped one of the greatest World Cup masterclasses ever in that insane 3-3 draw, free kick included. They beat Morocco and drew Iran to advance. But in the round of 16, Uruguay and Cavani sent them packing. By Euro 2021, Cristiano grew into an even bigger leader. 5 goals, grabbing the golden boot. 2 against Hungary, 1 against Germany, and 2 against France. But Belgium ultimately knocked Portugal out in the round of 16. Then came Qatar 2022. Portugal beat Ghana in a tense opener, got payback against Uruguay, and despite stumbling against South Korea, they stormed into the knockouts riding high. Then Fernando Santos dropped the ultimate bombshell, benching Cristiano Ronaldo against Switzerland. Crazy enough, it worked. Goncalo Ramos erupted for a hat-trick in a ruthless 6-1 thrashing. Portugal looked terrifying heading into the quarters. Then came Morocco, and a stunning 1-0 heartbreak. Hopes crushed all over again. Football delivered one of the most brutal scenes in modern history. Cristiano Ronaldo crying in the tunnel, convinced his ultimate World Cup dream was dead. But he had no idea Portugal's absolute best generation was just getting started. And they were about to click under a very strict boss, Roberto Martinez, January 2023. Fernando Santos packs his bags, and Roberto Martinez steps in as the first Spanish manager to ever lead the national team. The vibe was tense. He had to handle Ronaldo's heavy legacy, fix the squad, and keep Portugal fighting at the top. His fix was instant. A completely loose Portugal, way more aggressive on the ball, highly creative, and absolutely deadly up front. The payoff was massive. Portugal didn't just survive the shift. They caught fire under Martinez, winning the 2025 Nations League. They kicked off the group with 3 straight wins. First, a 2-1 victory over Croatia with goals from Cristiano and Diogo Dalot. Next, Bruno Fernandes smashed an absolute rocket while Ronaldo dragged them to victory against Scotland. The Portuguese attack stayed hot in a 3-1 win over Poland. Their only blank was a 0-0 draw with Scotland. Then, they completely took off. They absolutely destroyed Poland with 5 second-half goals in one of the craziest games all year. Rafael Leao scored, Bruno Fernandes scored, Pedro Neto scored, and Cristiano dropped jaws with a totally insane bicycle kick. Roberto Martinez had built an attacking monster. Then came the quarterfinals. Portugal ripped through Denmark, and Cristiano found the net. Trincao grabbed a double, and Goncalo Ramos fired in another huge statement win. But the massive moment hit during the semis. Cristiano Ronaldo finally beat Germany for the very first time. Francisco Conceição hit an absolute beauty, and Cristiano wrapped it up, sending Portugal straight to the final. Out on that pitch, Portugal looked scary. Cristiano buried the 2-2 equalizer. But Nuno Mendes stole the show. He totally silenced Lamine Yamal and scored an unbelievable goal. Then came the shootout. Diogo Costa turned into a brick wall, denying Alvaro Morata before Ruben Neves slammed home the winner. Portugal were kings again. That trophy did more than prove Martinez right. It crowned Portugal as the most stacked national squad alive. Smart, explosive, and deadly. 22 goals in 9 games. Just like that, the football world knew Portugal were dead serious about the 2026 World Cup. The goals never stopped flowing under Martinez. They rode that massive wave right into the World Cup qualifiers. First up, they crushed Armenia with a Ronaldo double and a strike from Joao Felix. Then they stormed Budapest, tearing down Hungary with strikes from Bernardo Silva, Cristiano, and Joao Cancelo. The wins kept piling up against Ireland before a heavy draw in the Hungary rematch, where Ronaldo and Dominik Szoboszlai stole the show. Then came a rare slip. Ireland stunned Portugal, snapping Martinez's insane 40-game unbeaten streak across all major Euro and World Cup qualifiers. But Portugal bounced back the way heavyweights do. They absolutely dismantled Armenia 9-1. Now this squad enters the next World Cup hunting one thing, pushing Cristiano Ronaldo to the absolute peak of football one last time. Because unlike those old squads, he finally has a juggernaut beside him. The second golden generation, just look at that midfield. It's unreal. Vitinha, fresh off winning the Champions League with PSG and arguably the finest midfielder alive. He's topped every single touch metric in the UEFA Champions League 2 years running. Then there's Joao Neves, a truly dominant young force on the pitch, already bossing massive European nights with clutch goals, assists, and a totally relentless engine. Add Bruno Fernandes, the Manchester United captain, the greatest creator in the sport, the exact guy who dragged United back to the top with his pure vision and leadership. Put those three on the pitch together, and Portugal literally owns the best midfield anywhere. But if there's one single guy opponents really need to sweat over, it's Nuno Mendes. His form at left back is a joke. PSG and Portugal look completely lost without his pace. The guy made Lamine Yamal look totally average, an absolute monster. Over on the right, Martinez has a brilliant problem. Diogo Dalot, Joao Cancelo, and Matheus Nunes are brawling for minutes, while veteran Nelson Semedo still holds the manager's respect. And don't forget the attack. Francisco Conceição slipped slightly, making room for Joao Felix and Rafael Leão. But honestly, even with the debate, their firepower is downright scary. Nobody punishes open space like Leão. Felix still brings that velvet touch. Conceição packs a lethal shot. And leading the line, a 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. He's out here dropping 7 goals in the Nations League plus 5 more during World Cup qualifiers. That bumped him to 41 goals in World Cup qualifying history, cementing him as the greatest qualifier striker ever. The machine just refuses to quit. 28 goals in 35 games for Al Nassr this year, 971 official goals. The race to 1,000 is on. But the records aren't keeping Cristiano up at night anymore. It's the pure belief that this Roberto Martinez generation, with this kind of midfield and absolute elite mentality, they genuinely have enough firepower to crown Portugal world champions for the very first time. That is exactly why beyond Argentina, beyond France, and the usual football heavyweights, Portugal stands out as a massive favorite to win the 2026 World Cup.